here you're given the space to be innovative and creative, and I think that's what the U.S. does really well. That it's hard for you guys to break out of it and kind of innovate and think individually. Like it doesn't.
今天是我跟表哥 Matthew 的一天，然后他带我去大都会艺术馆，然后我们一起去中央公园逛一逛。Matthew, can you say hello to the video?
Hey.
这个我们坐车的这个小镇也很有新英格兰的风格，它的建筑都是超过100年的建筑，可能我们这个角度有点看得不太清楚，但是可以看到这就是我们等待的火车站。火车站这边有各种各样的这种百老汇的广告，说明几乎很多去纽约也都是为了看演出去的。好，我们车快要到站了。I think what's the city you like most in the U.S.?
Probably Boston.
Why?
New York is very crowded, and it sometimes it feels like people there aren't quite as friendly or open. But in Boston, it's kind of feels more like a community. It's really fun to like hop from pub to pub, and there's like a lot going on in the city. Plus, growing up next to New York, you kind of get tired of it, I guess. You go in a dozen times, you see pretty much everything, and then like it's really fun for concerts. My friends and I would go into concerts to New York all the time, just because we were a train ride away. But going up to Boston is like a trip, you know, like you make a whole event out of it, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you. And we talk about the difference between Chinese and American youngsters. So, what do you think of the generations of these Americans?
Well, what we talked about earlier, it was like there's an immense pressure in China to perform and to produce and be the best. It's like very cutthroat.
Yeah.
Right? And here in the U.S., I think sometimes we take for granted all the opportunities we have, how easy it is to kind of make your own path, and that it isn't that cutthroat. And that's nice because like here you're given the space to be innovative and creative, and I think that's what the U.S. does really well. But a lot of us lack the drive and discipline to get it done. Or in China, it's like you guys have the drive and the discipline, but sometimes it feels like because you're on these guide rails for so long that it's hard for you guys to break out of it and kind of innovate and think individually. Like it doesn't promote that for you guys.
Yeah, but
like the pros and cons for each.
Yeah, but for some reasons, Americans, they are lazy about that. They are lazy to innovate.
Right, exactly, because they don't have that. There's not that drive, that fire under them. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like China's great because they're super productive, but because it's like such a strict system, it doesn't promote like that individual thinking. And because the U.S. doesn't have those strict rules and that push, it makes it easier to innovate, but it doesn't generate that drive that the Chinese people have.
So they are just enjoy the fruit the former Americans have ever achieved. They don't want to achieve more.
Well, it's almost like there's a culture here that kind of resents itself. We talked about it a little bit, where it's like, in China, it seems like it's easy to rally around a cause as a country. Or here, sometimes it feels like we have so much freedom that we have the freedom to even hate our own freedom, you know?
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like that culture is growing.
Yeah. So what do you think of the culture eat themselves?
That's it. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like where it's like tearing down the system. Like you have the freedom to question the system so much that you just want to tear it down. Like it's all wrong. And we were talking about like how people immigrate here and people want to come here. It's like the dream to come here because you can literally make anything of yourself that you want to be. Like that's why so many Chinese people want to immigrate here. That's why so many people from South America, from all over the world, want to immigrate here. And it's because there's just limitless opportunity. You can be whatever you want if you're willing to put the work in. And feel like we take that for granted. We don't realize it because we've grown up with that right, with those opportunities. Take it for granted. Don't really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. 现在跟表哥刚刚下车，现在走在曼哈顿的这个上城区，然后我们下一步是要去 Met 博物馆。昨天他刚刚忙完事情，今天一大早就又来陪我来逛纽约了。然后他刚刚告诉我这边有一个非常大的音乐节，每年非常的热闹，大家都喜欢来这边音乐节看一看。看到纽约的这个墙画也是非常的有这个特色。So these paintings are also New York style, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're gonna go in some way.
OK, 我们现在要坐地铁了，第一次坐纽约地铁，让我们体验一下纽约地铁到底是怎么样的。我们一路走来，看到了有好多奇奇怪怪的人，因为表哥在这里，我感觉我还能感觉安全一些。Thank you。刚刚从地铁上下来，确实看到了不少奇奇怪怪的人，但还好我表哥在，让我感觉非常的 safe。现在我们马上就要去 Met 了，的确是，如果要是第一次坐地铁，可能会有点 culture shock。但是时间长了，慢慢就会变好的。离 Central Park 越来越近。然后表哥给我讲了很多，就是这个，因为他是生活在 Stanford， 然后他给我讲了一些这些康州的有钱人呢，就是纽约的有钱人，都会住在 Greenwich。住在另外一个城市，不会选择住在纽约的 downtown， 因为一个是这边的房价特别贵，其次是非常拥挤，所以大家都会选择住到康州的格林尼治这个城市。然后你还能感受到乡村田园生活，但是你平常赚钱工作都是在这个纽约的这个城市里面。我们还可以看到这边的建筑的确非常的古老。